PlayStation 5 Pro is out, but you can build a PC that has PlayStation 5 Pro performance for about the same price. It's time to pick one. Hello and welcome back to Gears and Tech. We are super excited for the release of the PlayStation 5 Pro. We told you it was coming when the PlayStation 5 launched. We said the Pro is on the way, just wait. And for those of you guys who waited, I got some disappointing news. PC tech has come so far that it actually might be better to just go and build a PC instead. Now the big deal here is that the PlayStation 5 Pro is coming in at a huge price of just about $700 US. Yikes! That's a lot of money, and you can get a lot of PC for the same price, especially when some of the upgrades aren't upgrading the important bits, mainly because the goal of the PlayStation 5 Pro is not probably what we all wanted it to be. And I'm going to explain. There is one main goal of the PlayStation 5 Pro, and that is deliver 4K graphics at 120 frames per second. And I know many of you are saying, but Anton, the PlayStation 5 Slim and Fat regular already does 4K and 120 frames per second. And you would be right. But the main distinction here is 4K graphics at 120 frames per second. You see, the PlayStation 5 Slim and Fat models require you to pick quality or performance. If you pick quality, you get 4K graphics at 30 frames per second. Or you can pick performance, which gives you 120 frames per second at 1080p. And that's where the PlayStation 5 Pro comes in. You see, they're going to give you both 4K at 120 frames per second. How are they going to do this? I'm glad you asked, because Sony has three main components that they have upgraded, and in my opinion, only one of them actually matters, and it's the one that PC handily already has covered. Let's dive right in. Starting out, we have an upgraded GPU. Of course we do, because it's been a number of years and GPUs are cheaper. So it's easy to build an upgraded GPU at the same price that the regular PlayStation 5 was building it for when it first came out. That naturally happens. But what we do know is that this one has 67% more compute units than the current PS5 console and 28% faster memory. Not more memory, just faster memory. Overall, this will give you about a 45% faster rendering time in gameplay. That means we can probably get to those 4K graphics, but we're still only gonna hit 60 frames per second. So we need to add an extra little trick. And that is the third part that they talk about. Now I know you're saying, well, what about the second part? I'm gonna cover the second part, but we gotta jump ahead a little bit. So the third part that they add is AI-driven upscaling. We've heard this before. We have DLSS and we have FSR. These are two AI upscalers that are provided by NVIDIA and AMD. Why do we need a third one? Well, because it's Sony, and Sony loves their proprietary software. Have you heard of Tempest Audio? Well, probably you didn't before the PlayStation 5. That's because Sony said, you know, Dolby audio is not good enough. Atmos audio, who cares? HD audio, whatever. We're gonna give you super duper audio that only Sony can bring you. Well, just like that, they're gonna bring you PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, or PSSR, because we love some acronyms, right? Now this is an AI-driven upscale that uses a machine learning-based technology to provide super sharp image clarity by adding an extraordinary amount of detail. We've heard it before. We're doing it already with FSR. We're doing it already with DLSS. Nothing new here. But by taking our upgraded GPU and turning the graphics up to 4K and employing PlayStation Spectral Super Resolution, well, now we can get 120 frames per second. But Sony wasn't happy with that, so they added the second thing to their upgraded technology here, which is advanced ray tracing. They want to take the feature that you've been turning off since you got your PlayStation 5 and make it better. Yes, that's right. Ray tracing is now better. That means you're going to get better reflections on the water, better reflections off glass, and just better reflections off of pretty much anything. Gran Turismo 7? Well, it'll give you better reflections of the cars off the other cars as you drive past a car. But again, you didn't know about that because you turned that off, because 75% of PlayStation users play their games in performance mode. Gams go. Are you paying too much for Netflix, Spotify, Disney Plus, Crunchyroll, Duolingo, Canva, or Adobe? GamsGo has you covered with premium shared subscriptions for a fraction of the price directly from the distributor. Yes, GamsGo is the shared premium experience that you've been looking for that saves a ton of money. I personally use GamsGo for my Netflix, my Spotify, my Disney Plus, and my Crunchyroll subscriptions, and I have saved tons of money by switching to GamsGo. Switching to GamsGo is as easy as clicking the link in the description or up in the title card, which will take you to the main GamsGo website. Select the services that you're looking for and buy them. But to show you how easy it is, we're gonna take 30 seconds and we're gonna sign up for Netflix. So we've clicked the affiliate link and I'm gonna click purchase now on Netflix. Now we have an option to buy 3 months or 6 months. I'm gonna buy a 6-month membership. I'm gonna say activate auto renewal because you don't wanna miss out anyway. Now in my case, I only need one profile. That means that I get one of the 5 included shared profiles with my Netflix account, and I can install it on one device in my home. Do you have multiple devices in your home? You might want to switch to the 5 profiles option, which also unlocks multiple devices so that you can use all of your profiles across multiple devices. But in my case, one profile is plenty. Now, this is the most important step. It's gonna say, do you have a promo code? Yes, I do. And the promo code is GEARS. We're gonna apply our promo code and it's gonna say, this is a valid promo code. We're gonna click to go to payment, and then we're gonna enter in all of our details. This is a one-time payment of just $21.26. That is crazy cheap for premium Netflix on one device with one profile. I'm going to pay now. I'm gonna enter my credit card information, and that's it. Once you've paid, you get immediate access to Netflix, and it's as simple as logging into your GamsGo account, getting the username and passkey, and then going to legit Netflix. Now it's gonna immediately say, well, who is this? Now I am account number 3, Gears and Tech, and it's gonna ask for my PIN code because I locked this down. Once I have my PIN code in, now instantly I am in the full premium Netflix experience. This gives me HD Netflix, I can download it, and it's that simple. And it works the same on all your other favorite streaming platforms. This is truly an amazing deal. You don't wanna miss it. Click the link down below to grab your deal. You want the 120 frames per second and you don't care what it looks like. And that's the basis that we're gonna use when we're talking about building a PC to compete with the PlayStation 5, which is what we're diving into right now. Let's start out with the PlayStation 5 CPU. The PlayStation 5 uses the same Zen 2 based AMD CPU. It has 8 cores and 16 threads. That's the same processor that a regular PlayStation 5 already has. It is an old processor. In the PC space, we already have the Zen 5 CPU. Now those are gonna be expensive. Obviously, we're not gonna go grab a Zen 5 for this build, but with the spec of the base CPU so low at a Zen 2, it's easy to match at a cheap price. We'll get to exactly what we're gonna use in a minute. Now, naturally, we're gonna want to just look at the teraflop capability of the PlayStation 5 Pro and compare it to the graphics card that we're gonna get on our PC. But that would be a little bit misleading. You see, there's so many ways for us to gain the target metric that we can't look at teraflops alone. What I mean by that is the target goal of the PlayStation 5 is 4K gaming at 120 frames per second. That's the target. How we get to that target doesn't matter so much. Sony's approach is throw in a bigger AMD-based RDNA 3 GPU that supports features that are derived from the RDNA 4 spec, which is not currently available on GPUs for your PC anyway. So it's got an advantage there, but we think we can match that advantage in a way that you really won't notice it. Now, one of the things that we have to look at is, do we use the new technology available on PCs, or do we go with the cheaper, older technology? Spec for spec, we can get there at the PlayStation 5 Pro level with older spec stuff, but we won't be able to upgrade in the future. So we're kind of limited in that respect. So do we stay true to the budget of $700 US and get you there with older tech? Or do we push that budget just slightly so we can get future proofing built in here so that when the PlayStation 6 comes out, we can just pop in a couple little upgrades and you will have a PlayStation 6 PC build in a few years from now, rather than trying to build this whole PC all over again from scratch because we weren't future-proofed. Starting with the CPU. So we already said the PlayStation 5 is using an AMD Zen 2 8-core 16-thread. It runs at 3.85 gigahertz and 3.5 gigahertz. So we are going to pick an AMD Ryzen 5 5600X, which is a Zen 3 CPU. It runs 6 cores and 12 threads at 3.7 gigahertz and 4.6 gigahertz. For the GPU, now we talked about this, they're using an AMD RDNA 3 based GPU with 60 CUs. Now we don't know exactly what that's based off of yet, so it's hard to say what the PC equivalent is, but if we go with an AMD Radeon RX 7800 XT, or for you NVIDIA guys, we can throw in a 4070 Super. You're gonna get pretty darn close to the performance that you're looking for. Now, 4070 is still quite expensive. So we are going to nudge the price a little bit to where we're like, yeah, it's kind of close. If you wanna hold us true to it, then you could certainly go and look at a 3070, which you can easily buy in the used market. It will consume half of your budget, but you can easily get there and still get graphics that are very comparable to what the PlayStation 5 Pro will do. This PC behind me here is running that 3070 already, and it has been for a couple of years. Unfortunately, we don't use it for gaming because we use it for video editing, and we use the PlayStation for the gaming because I am still a console gamer. However, the case is getting stronger and stronger to go for a PC build instead of a console build. But more on that in different videos. Now, for those guys who want to compare teraflops, the GPU clock speed of the PlayStation 5 Pro is gonna be about 33.5 teraflops. If we're using the RX 7800 XT, we're gonna be at 37 teraflops, better. If we're gonna be going with the 4070 Super, 35 teraflops, which is also better. So that's where we're making up for the lack of CPU performance when we had the less cores. Now your memory is pretty standard, 16 gigabytes in the PlayStation 5 Pro. So we're gonna throw 16 gigabytes of DDR4 into our PC build. Now you can upgrade to DDR5 as long as you've got a motherboard that supports either. In this case, we are going for the 16 gigabytes DDR4. Storage, the PlayStation 5 finally has 2 terabytes of storage built in. So we're gonna throw a 2 terabyte M.2 NVMe drive into our PC for the fastest possible file transfer speeds from our SSD. I'll show on the screen all of the specs that we just built and the pricing for average PC pricing. Obviously, if you were to shop around, you could possibly find some deals on some of those. You could spec up or down to get you more into that threshold. But based on the average pricing that we are getting, this build beats the PlayStation 5 Pro in price by a little bit, like it's more expensive, to the tune of $873. That is the core system. You still don't have an operating system on there, and that's obviously using the 4070 Super instead of the Radeon RX 7800 XT due to price reasons. If you wanted to use the Radeon, obviously the price is going to go up a little bit more. And if you need to add Windows 11 on top of that, it will cost you another $100, unless you're using some sort of CD key or something, which can get you a cheaper build of Windows 11, which we can put a link in the description to some of those options if you are curious about how to get that legit OS for a little bit less money. Now, why would somebody go through all of the hassle of building a PC when you can just go to the store and buy a PlayStation 5 Pro and turn it on and start gaming immediately? One of the #1 reasons for going with a PC build over a console build is flexibility. Once you've got a PC, you can do whatever you want with it. You can always upgrade components for reasonable pricing as the latest and greatest gets a little bit cheaper. So you can upgrade that video card without having to replace the whole PC. The other big advantage is the GPUs have supported AI upscaling for quite a while now. So you can take games that are not even doing 4K graphics, boost them up so that they look like 4K and still get those 120 frames per second, or take a 4K graphic and boost that up even more, you'll get down to like 60 frames per second, but you can make it look even prettier than what the PlayStation 5 Pro could ever hope to achieve for a long, long time. And then the other great reason to switch from console, PlayStation or Xbox to PC is PC already runs Game Pass. So all of the Xbox library is available to PC players already. But Sony has also started doing the exact same thing, porting a lot of their exclusive PlayStation 5 library to the PC. So you're not left in the dark anymore. There's no more real console exclusives. So you've got a great PC that can do everything that you need it to do and play the latest and greatest games. So huge advantage to go to a PC. But there's one thing that you guys probably already noticed, and that is to get close to PlayStation 5 performance, we have to spend a little bit more than the PlayStation 5 Pro is going to cost. And that's because Sony subsidizes the cost to build. And you get an advantage by doing that because you get some great hardware at a subsidized price because they think they're going to make that up with software sales. Whereas with PC, they have to sell it at the price they have to sell it to turn a profit from the start. And that's why we can't quite get to that $700 magic mark, but we can get so close that it really does make a hard choice for you. But you do have to decide, unless you're like me and you've got a PlayStation 5 and you got a PlayStation 5 Pro and you've got a PC, you might as well just buy them all anyway, right? Go get some handhelds. But if you got to pick one or the other, you know, you can't beat the simplicity of a console. And the PlayStation 5 is still a great console. So my final advice to you guys, if you're watching this saying, well, how do I decide? What do I do? My advice is actually very straightforward and simple, and it's somewhat controversial. If you have a PlayStation 4 Pro, stick with that. Build the PC when you can afford it. Don't even do the PlayStation 5 because the PlayStation 4 can play all of the games that are coming out on PlayStation 5 anyway, and the graphics aren't that much better anyway. So you can do your 4K at 30 frames per second on the PlayStation 4 Pro or 1080p that runs super sampling at 60 frames per second, which it can handle fine. If you have a PlayStation 5 Slim or Fat, you don't need to upgrade. If you really want to get into the PlayStation 5 scene, skip the PlayStation 5 Pro. Just go for a PlayStation 5 Slim or a used PlayStation 5 Fat, which the prices are starting to come down anyway, and they're going to be way cheaper than what you can build this PC for. If you really want a PlayStation 5 Pro, then get that. Okay, I'm not going to convince you to not get it. I myself am getting a PlayStation 5 Pro. There is no question about it because I need to explore that cool new tech anyway, share it with you guys. So there's a benefit for me to have it because you guys can enjoy that journey without having to shell out all that cash. Now, the PC build that we just talked about, if PC is the way that you want to go, let me know. We can always get these parts, build it ourselves and show you guys, compare it to our PlayStation 5 Pro and see if we got the performance that I said we would, because, you know, maybe I'm wrong. Probably not wrong, but maybe I am. But that leaves us with the comments. I want to know, are you building a PC? Are you going to build a PC like this? Is there something that we didn't consider in that PC build that we would need to consider before we can actually go and build that thing? Maybe there's a better processor that is cheaper price that we should be considering or looking at. And who knows? You guys tell me, are you going with a PlayStation 5 Pro? Are you sticking with your PlayStation 5? What are you doing? Tell me all about it in the comments. Hey, thanks for watching all the way to the end of this video. We hope you enjoy the content in this video, and we'd love to have you come back. Consider subscribing to the channel if you haven't already. And for those subscribers who are looking for that extra special thing that you can do to support this channel, consider joining our members group. That's where we're building this community, the Gears and Tech community, where we can all enjoy content together. You'll get special perks, which we'd love for you to check out by clicking the link down below. For those of you who are just happy to watch the video, that's okay too. You can check out some of our other content right over here, where we've got some previous videos that have already been uploaded and enjoyed by many of our viewers already. We do hope to see you again. This has been Gears and Tech. Have a great day.